Welcome to Simple Solutions, the podcast where big challenges meet practical answers. I've spoken on big stages. I've taught in classrooms. I've learned from some of the world's greatest speakers. And through it all, one principle remains true. Success leaves clues. On this show, we uncover those clues. We break down complex problems into clear, actionable strategies you can apply right now. So, if you are ready to grow, ready to lead, and ready to win, well, you are in the right place. This is Simple Solutions. Welcome to another episode of Success Leaves Clues, where we give you the hints and you got to get the tools to find success. Today, we have a very special guest. She is known as the funeral trust gal. She helps families protect their assets with confidence through funeral trust and estate planning. She is the founder of silvercore.o, which is a CRM and a growth system built for business owners such as myself. She focuses on simplifying complex decisions while empowering professionals. She's an educator. She's a founder. She's a businesswoman. And she's a mother. Please welcome Sara Guida. Sara, how you doing?
I am great. I'm so glad to be here, John.
I'm glad to be here. You be here as well. So happy that our paths crossed. I would say not too long ago through a mutual friend, and since then has just been a joy to get to know you. And I really appreciate what you've been doing for my business. So,
Thank you. I feel the same about you. I am so grateful. Octavia has opened many doors for me, and our connection wouldn't be where it is without her. So I'm thankful for her.
absolutely, shout out to you, Octavia. Now, for those who don't know you, Sara, just tell me, like, where are you from?
I actually was born and raised in Nebraska. Moved to Iowa, just about 12 miles from the Nebraska-Iowa border, 20 years ago. So I don't know. If I can say I'm from Nebraska still, I'd like to do that. But yes, I reside in Iowa.
I got you. The only thing I know about Nebraska is Omaha, now through Bud Crawford, you know.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's been all over TV, so I'm like, okay, I know Omaha.
Yes, yep. He's an Omaha native and actually doesn't live far from where we're at. So,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
So tell me about Omaha, 'cause I've never been there. Like, what do people do there for fun?
That's a great question. Well, we have the beautiful Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo, which is a pretty popular attraction. We have the College World Series every year for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
And boy, above and beyond that, I know there's probably lots of things to do. We, as a family, try to do fairly regular outdoor activities. With kids, they keep you busy.
Tell me about it. I have three of my own. And every day they get out of school, got to be activity. So I get it. So Sara, you mentioned that you are a family woman, a business owner. Uh, Tell me this: what made you decide to become an entrepreneur versus your traditional path as a corporate America working W-2? I'm pretty sure you could have got a hefty salary, but you decided to go a different route. Why is that?
That's a great question. I attribute that to my father. He is an entrepreneur at heart. He passed away in October, and I've never known him to not have a side gig going on. He was a car guy, owned an electrical company. The people in the car world know him through being involved in various aspects. In my lifetime, he had over 300 cars. I'm sorry, 3,000 cars, excuse me. When I was pretty young, he said to me, I was kind of telling him what career path I thought I wanted to take. And he said, that's great, do your 9 to 5, but always have something on the side. So I would say that I learned that from him. And
Okay.
it's held true my whole adult life.
I got you. Now, have you ever worked a 9 to 5, or you always been an entrepreneur?
No, I have worked a 9 to 5. I've always, but I've always had a couple of things happening. When I graduated high school, went to cosmetology school, met my husband. He owns a delivery service. So we've had that company now for 30 plus years. And along with that, I've dabbled in network marketing. I've owned a e-commerce company. I've done some other things, dabbled here and there in different things, and then got in the insurance space about 3 years ago.
Okay. Similar to me, I always had a 9 to 5. I was a company man. My dad, he never really had a side gig. He always just worked on his job, worked his way up with UPS, and then, of course, he moved to Shreveport. So that's what was instilled in me. Like, get a
Hmm.
job, the W-2, get a pension back then.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but, I just got tired of it. That's not for me. And I did it for a long time. Till about 36. And I said, you know what? It's time for me to kind of just dive into entrepreneurship and don't look back. 'Cause prior to
That's
that, I did dabble. I sold everything: network marketing, Noonie Juice, Mona V,
okay.
prepaid legal.
Okay, I know those names.
Yeah, I did it all. So, because I knew it was something different. And
Hmm.
so did you. You dabble in different entrepreneurship ventures. What
Yes.
made you kind of pivot to life insurance?
Actually, it was a good friend of mine, Dave, who had been working on me for years. Um, and he just kind of hit me at the right moment. Finally, he'd been asking me to join him in the insurance path, and I kept saying, Dave, I just don't think it was for me. I barely graduated high school. I went to cosmetology school, and I didn't ever want to look at school again. And I guess I had a bit of a fear of facing that health and life exam. I didn't really honestly want to take the time to do it because I didn't know if I could pass it. Maybe a little bit of self confidence involved there. Um, and finally, one day he just hit me with it, and it was just the right moment. I had just sold the e-commerce business, and I didn't really know where I was going. And I just was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm doing it. And I am booking my exam for next Monday. And he said, Sarah, that's a week from now. And I said, I know that, but I know something else about myself that is, if I don't book it, I might not complete it. And I had to do it. If I'm going to do it, I had to do it. So, yeah, passed the life in a week. And then I really didn't know that I wanted to get my health. And I ended up getting that a few months later.
Oh, wow. It's amazing how the brain works. Once you set a date, things just speed up. So I know you said a week. I'm doing it in a week. And that sense of urgency kind of
Yeah.
kicked in. So,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. So tell me about this nickname, the Funeral Trust Gal. Like, how did you get deemed that name?
You know what? I don't even know how it really kind of came about. I connected myself with a company out of Janesville, Wisconsin called the Elder Life Group. They were pinnacle in starting the concept of the funeral trust. And, um, as we were kind of moving along and I was thinking about how do I want to market myself and how do I want to present myself and what does that look like? A friend of mine said, what about the funeral trust gal? And I was like, okay, there's nobody really out there doing that. Let me just take it and run with it. And so here I am today trying to, continue to share the message and help families. Anybody can go down to the funeral home and pre-plan a funeral, but being able to kind of hold on to that concept personally and choose how your final wishes are designated, not tying you to a funeral home. Some of those things they're important to families. And so, I guess to answer your question, I don't really know how the name came about, but it's here.
It's here. And probably because you were successful at it. They just don't give out nicknames, so you earned that. So kudos to you. Now, for people who don't understand the difference between a trust and a will, can you kind of just dive into that, just kind of just help people understand why it's important to have a trust?
Absolutely. So this particular product is unique. You know, a will or a trust, whatever it is that you personally decide to choose for your family, everyone should have something, right? It designates how your life and your wishes should move forward, what path they should take. The funeral trust is unique in that. It is a product designed specifically for final expenses. So the trust, sometimes people hear that word trust and they think, an estate type trust. The funeral trust is really specifically designated for final expenses. So it's an amount of money set aside for final wishes upon the person's unfortunate passing. The money is designated very specifically to cover final wishes and anything related to those. So could be a celebration of life, could be purchasing a monument, could be, having the funeral services, covering, the limousine to get the family from the cemetery to the church or funeral home or whatever. So the word trust applies to the situation a little bit differently than your traditional trust.
Hmm. You know what? I got a chance to see that firsthand. I don't know if she had a family trust, but one of my classmates, she passed away some time ago.
I'm
And the
sorry.
way she had her funeral laid out, it was just amazing.
Yeah,
It was simple. She knew exactly the words she wanted to tell her kids, because they were able to read them. The exact words she wanted to tell her husband, the limo, as you mentioned. Everything was just, a smooth process. It was still sad, but you
yeah,
could see the burden that was taken off the family because they didn't have to worry about whatever they had to go through as far as planning. So,
sure,
yeah,
sure.
that was easy. I mean, that was smooth. Now, let me ask you this, because insurance can be challenging.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what were some of the challenges that you faced as you went into the insurance industry as a brand new agent?
Oh, great question. I think uh, first and foremost was just the understanding of there's so many products out there, so many companies, so many opportunities out there, and really understanding where your place is in that picture. And then one of my bigger challenges was just having the confidence in understanding the different types of products and how they relate specifically to various situations. Um, and then probably lastly was the whole idea of I was, purchasing leads, and that could be just so heavy. I think that's the right word. It can be
Yeah.
really heavy. And, just realizing that connecting with people, having conversations, building relationships, it's so much easier to make those connections versus, buying leads and cold calling. And, a lot of the companies that I work with did provide some of the leads, but I also made the investment of, purchasing leads and doing those cold calls to get experience. So I guess, on one hand, it's challenging to have to do that, but also on the other hand, it kind of helped me to realize that I didn't want to keep doing that and that
Hmm.
I wanted to figure out how to build good, solid relationships, to build my online presence, to make connections with those people who are coming in the forefront of my space.
Yeah. Yeah, and that can be challenging. And one thing I do like about the life insurance industry, there are several ways you can get customers. And that all
Yes.
is going to be challenging. You could door knock. That's a
Yep.
challenge in itself. You could cold call. I did that for many years, worked for AT&T. That is a challenge. Uh,
Absolutely.
Talking to family and friends, they're like the last one at times to support your business could be challenging. And then buying leads. Sometimes people don't have the money to invest in leads. But you got to pick your poison. But I'm glad you were able to navigate through your experience and you found success with it. So I
Yeah.
love that. Now, also as an insurance agent, you mentioned your wife, your mother. How are you able to juggle that schedule? between the two?
That's a good question. I would say that quite frankly, some days I wasn't good at it, and other days I was really good at it. Um, when I first started as an agent, I was driving about in the car, I should say, about 3.5 hours a day. Um, Driving my son to one school, waiting in the parking lot for my daughter, coming home, working for a few hours, going back at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and sitting in one parking lot waiting for my son and driving to the other one. So there was a lot of like sitting in the car, and I maximized that time with phone calls and conversations, and um, you know, tried to make the most of that time. I really tried not to do a lot of evening appointments because, you know, those kids, uh, they aren't young very long, as you well know, John. Um, Mine are 15 and 17 now, and you know, the time goes way too fast. So I would say honestly, some days I wasn't very good at it, and other days, you know, I thought I had it down.
Yeah, it's a juggling act with this schedule. I remember those days driving 2 hours one way or 3 hours. I remember my mentor at the time, Jason Hayes. He passed away, unfortunately.
I'm
But he
sorry.
told me like you need to book a appointment every hour, at least every 30 minutes if you're gonna go out of town. I said, man, but I'm long winded, you know. So I was booking my appointments like 2 hours in between, or maybe three. And then I had a no show. So now I'm stuck in Jonesboro, Arkansas, which is about 3 hours away from my home.
Oh
And I
my
don't have
God.
anything to do for 3 hours. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm still listening every hour on an hour. I do remember those days. It's a lot. It's a lot.
You end up accelerating your conversation and getting down to the needs of the client when you are put in that position, for sure.
Yeah, and coming from retail, that was not me. You know, I like to warm up the customer, a lot of chit chat, and then we get to business. Uh,
Sure.
but insurance does the same thing. Got her report, but at the same time, we have to get the business to help the
Absolutely.
families, and I had to learn that. That was a big challenge for me in the beginning. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So talk about your morning routine. Like, do you have a morning routine that help you to be successful in your entrepreneurship venture?
Yeah, I actually do, and it's taken me a lot of time to get me to the morning routine and the time blocking. For a long, long time, I was pretty resistant of that. I always felt like, you know, I needed to take things as they come, and, you know, if a client needed me, I wanted to be there. And I started to realize that I was actually doing not only myself a disservice, but my clients a disservice. And so I'm pretty strict about my morning routine. I'm usually in my office by 7. From 7 to 8 o'clock, you know, there's multiple aspects of being an entrepreneur, right? You know, keeping track of not only your clients and your accounts, but your actual business from a financial standpoint. So I do spend about an hour every morning, like reconciling my accounts, handling my receipts, checking my emails, making sure everything is kind of cleaned up and ready for the day. And then usually from 8 to 9 o'clock, I turn on a podcast of sorts. I'm kind of really into the Mindset Mentor these days. I really like listening to him or Mel Robbins. Those are kind of my two that I go to in the morning. And then while I'm kind of listening to them, I'm might be working on my social media, or I might be you know, working on a blog post or something. So my first 2 hours are kind of a little bit of more busy work, so that I'm prepared by 9 o'clock to be ready. And I guess, you know, used to think I needed to start my day like 8 o'clock, be ready to be on the phones with clients. But I also have kind of learned that, you know, they don't want to hear from you at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, they're just getting their coffee. You get a different feel of a person by around 9 o'clock. That's just my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion about that, but that's how I like to do things. And I'm pretty strict about blocking my time. I've learned that if you don't take time to take care of a client's needs, or handle your social media, or create that blog post, or follow up with people you're connecting with on LinkedIn, or leave a comment for a friend, or send a card to somebody that you care about, things don't really work the same. I guess that's just my opinion. So I'm pretty strict about my time blocking.
Yeah, that was a challenge for me in the beginning. Like I said, come
Yeah.
from W-2 background, you are given a schedule, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And now I got to create the schedule, and my schedule just open. It's like, if you don't block out your time, everybody gonna take your time. And my family
Absolutely.
took with my time, my mother, my sister, friends, the things I wanted to do, it took all my time away, and I was not making that much money in the beginning. Um, but then I started working on personal development. And I can remember it was so funny because I started trying to meditate, never did that before. So I'm sitting here like in a dark room. My wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" I don't know. I just trying to figure out. They said do this, so I would do it. But
Yeah.
I was amazed at how quickly it started shifting my mindset by
Mm-hmm.
reading, planning out my day, and then I
Absolutely.
started seeing those results that I was looking for.
Sure.
So, so going back to that, when you first started, insurance was challenging. How quickly did you start seeing success in the industry? Was it your first month, your third month, or a year? How long did it take you before you say, you know what, I can do this?
Yeah. Um, in the insurance space, it took me a little longer. Um, you know, like you, so you came from you were with AT&T,
Hmm.
right? I worked for Verizon. I started, got my, actually it was AirTouch paging at the time, so really, really long time ago, before cell phones.
Right.
And, and like you, there was a period in there where, with the trainings and things like that, uh, things happened really fast. But we were also, correct me if you feel I'm wrong. We were selling. We were not problem solving. We were not trying to figure out the client's needs and help the client. We were selling. We were behind the counter. Yes, we were building relationships, and yes, we were connecting with our people. But we were there to sell. We had quotas to meet. We had numbers to hit, and so it, you know, getting involved in the insurance space, there was a shift for me. It took me a bit of time to really ramp things up and get things moving. And, some days I didn't have it figured out, and other days, it was exciting and had momentum and all the things there. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Working in retail, AT&T, yes, we were selling or was clerking, either one. That come there
hmm
with their cell phone, we just upgraded or give them a SIM card. But yeah, we was not really trying to dive into their needs
right,
or their wants and then try to find a solution to fix their problem. So
right.
yeah, with insurance, it was definitely different. Um, what about mentorship? Did you have any mentors to help you along the way, whether it was in insurance or just in your entrepreneur background, apart from your father?
Yeah, you know what? I've had people along the way. Actually, we had a coach early on when my husband started the delivery service, and I would say her name was Rosemary. I haven't seen her in a while. She's still around. She lives in the Omaha area, and I remember my husband and I were talking about a client. He was very, very frustrated with this particular client, and she said, you can fire that client. And we both kind of looked at each other like, why would we do that? And she said, that client is absorbing so much of your time and energy, and you guys are constantly thinking about how you can serve and help them, and they're constantly throwing curveballs at you. You need to fire them. And it was, and like I said early on, that she said that, and I will say that it's made an impact on how I connect and deal with people today, because I've since realized it is okay to like let things go. So back to your question, I've had several coaches that I've worked with, both in the insurance space. I worked with, when I first got involved, my friend Dave was the person that introduced me, and he connected me with um, his mentor, Eric Bowling. He's out of Florida. He's an amazing person. I still connect with him today. I think he's awesome at what he does. And then more recently, just as I've shifted a bit of my focus, still in the insurance space, but kind of evolving into the whole concept of helping others in our space who are struggling the same way I was. I recently connected with Charest, and she is amazing. So yeah, here's the thing. I guess you always have to find somebody that is there who can not only uplift you, but that you can give back to and uplift, and that you can help bring your team along with you as you're growing and evolving. I think coaching and having someone like that is essential to your success, whatever it is that you might be doing.
Yeah, no matter what profession or professional, they have a coach. Uh, I used to play sports when I was younger. Never organized sports, for the school, but in the neighborhood. And I'll be this
Hmm.
one older gentleman who want to be the coach and tell her how to hold the bat or how to throw the football. And it helped. All right.
Yeah.
So as I got older, I just realized the importance of that. Even the great Kobe Bryant, you can see behind me, he had a
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah.
These athletes and actresses, they had a coach. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs um, in the beginning don't see the need to have a
Absolutely.
coach. Yeah.
Agree.
Or, or they
And I,
think it's gonna cost them. Okay, sometimes you do have to pay for that mentorship, and
yes.
they're not thinking about the investment. They are just thinking about the cost.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, uh, honestly, I mean, I've had moments where I've said I don't need to do that right now, and I know darn well I need it. But sometimes we let the dollar signs get in our way.
Yeah. Sometimes it be that fear, like, man, do I pay for this or do I pay rent or your mortgage or your car note? Like these are real things that people have to juggle, whether in the insurance space or just entrepreneurship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it can be challenging. Now, let me ask you this, just based on your opinion, why do you think a lot of entrepreneurs fail or they don't reach their goal that they set out to do?
Because it's hard work.
Yeah,
It's hard work. It takes effort, energy, desire is one thing. The will, the 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 go go forward, the push, takes a lot of work.
yeah,
It doesn't, and I mean, I think we've become. Um, I don't know if this is appropriate for me to say this, but I feel like sometimes we've become a society of like, if it's hard, I'm just gonna move on, and it's not working, so I'm gonna try something new. And sometimes that just one extra thing that you do is what you need to move forward to propel you to the next place. And having even just having people to connect with, and maybe it's not a mentor, maybe it's not a coach, but just having people to connect with who are in the same space that can encourage you will make a huge difference. So
yeah. It is challenging. I didn't realize how hard it was, but on the flip side, that's why it's so rewarding at the
yeah,
end.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. Now, what are some of the benefits you have had as an entrepreneur? Because when I talk to a lot of people, especially with I'm doing interviews, getting to join an agency, they always say, I want some benefits. My last job had benefits. And when you're talking about a 1099 versus a W-2, there are two different positions, right? Two different
Absolutely.
career choices. So what's some
Yeah.
of the benefits you could think of as an entrepreneur?
Freedom and flexibility. Freedom to choose how you're going to run your business, and flexibility to be there when you need to be, are far more important to me than, the health insurance and all the other extras, because you can figure that out. you know there are resources to help you figure out how to get your insurance covered, how to start your own 401k. I have a great friend who's in the financial space who has led and mentored me over the years. Her name is Paula Dietering, and she's amazing at what she does, helping entrepreneurs figure out those details and those things that small businesses need. We can compete with the big companies for ourselves.
Yeah.
The competition is right here, not going to work for somebody else.
Yeah, that is a huge, huge benefit for me. I don't think people really understand when you have something important that you need to do, and you got to request that time off, and your boss or the company you work for, that may be short staff. They
Absolutely.
need you,
Yeah.
but your family or this event or this circumstance need you as well.
hmm
And now you got somebody deciding for you where you're gonna go.
Right.
Yeah, and that was why I really stepped away um, from my corporate job
hmm
because when my son was younger, I would say his first couple of steps I missed. When he was speaking and talking, I missed that. And I could remember my son, he was probably like 3 or 4 years old, and my wife and him was looking at some photos. And he said, "Mom, where's Dad at in all these pictures?" And she's like, "Oh, Dad's at work, he got to work." So when I came home, she told me that. And I said, by the time my son goes to kindergarten, I will not be working for no one else ever again. Not to know I was going to do. I didn't know it was going to be insurance. It just so happened for me it was insurance, but I made a commitment, and I put that date, same as you did with that week. I said by kindergarten, give myself a year. I'm
hmm
gonna find something, and the freedom now just to move whenever I want to move, go whenever I want to go without asking the boss is one of the biggest benefits I have found as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah, I,
I'm glad
I
you
love
did.
it. I love it.
And I'm sure your kids appreciate that today.
Yeah, I mean every field trip. My son was in pre-K. My youngest, Jelani, is I didn't realize how many trips they had. Like every month, it was a different trip, and so I got a chance to be a kid. I'm on a merry-go-round with my son. I'm in different plays. I'm reading to the class. Like everything they had to do, I was there, and I enjoy that without
That's awesome.
asking to be off. So, but yeah, I love it. Let's kind of dive into your other business, because that's where you're not connected with Silvercore.
Yes.
My problem was I needed more exposure. Every time I was speaking at events and seminars, speaking on stage, everyone kept telling me, "John, we need to get you out. You need to post more. We can't find you."
Yeah.
I don't have the time. They're like, I don't got time for that. So then, as we mentioned, Octavia introduced me to you. So tell me a little bit about Silvercore and how that's kind of changing the way people see uh, posting and getting out on social media.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Honestly, John, that's why I started Silvercore. Over the last few years, I've realized one of the essential things in me getting myself out there and making connections and meeting new people was how I appeared publicly. Um, and not what I was doing or how I was doing it. It was just that I was out there, that people could find me and learn more about me and see um, a side of me that maybe they don't see, right? Through video and content and information. So I started Silvercore, and I launched it the beginning of this year. I've been working on it for the last 2, 3 years. And the idea behind it is really to help entrepreneurs and professionals show up in the world a different way than they currently have. To utilize our social planner to put themselves out on multiple platforms with content and information about what they do.
Yeah.
Uh, that's just one little piece of what we do with Silvercore. We also help clients as they navigate. Maybe I have one client who didn't have a website, so we put a website together for them. Um, I have another client who her biggest challenge was she didn't have enough time to take those new leads that were coming in and just send them a quick message, follow up with them. She was going back to an email that she had created months and months ago and copying pasting that to her new leads. So we helped her in creating a method for her to follow up with those leads so she could still perform and run in her business as she was currently doing. And then the last piece is how do you appear on Google, and how do you appear as a business owner, as John Clayton? So those are things that we work on in Silvercore, just helping our clients connect. We're a CRM and growth platform specifically designed for those who are serving the senior market.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed your platform. It has made my posting more seamless.
Good.
I have my wife working on it with me as well. Sometimes I get busy, and I also have my admin working on it. But now it's a easier platform for us to kind of accomplish and share our goals. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I do appreciate that. Now, why is it important for business owners to have a larger presence, whether it's going to be on social media or TV, just having a space in advertisement? Why do you think that's important?
I think that's important because a lot of times people are hiding in the background, trying to figure out who's John. What's John all about? What's John teaching? How is he serving his clients? And the best way for them to do that, and how they most often do that, is they go seek out John Clayton via Google or, now with ChatGPT and all the AI options that are out there, they're seeking out to find out who you are. And what better way to put information out about you and how you serve your clients through social media?
Yeah. Is that the biggest difference in being a self-employed business owner and making a
Yeah.
transition over to a business or corporation? To a lot of corporations, so much advertisement you see during a Super Bowl, during TV, things on your cell phone, with your ads popping up. They
Yeah.
are business minded oriented, whereas people who say I got my own business, they operate in a self-employed space. Word of
Yes.
mouth referrals, and it helps. But social media travel much faster. Advertising travels much faster, and I just decided to start listening. Like, okay, I'd heard it enough. Let me get out of my comfort zone and just
Yeah.
go, just go.
Yep.
Now, final question for you, Sarah. If you could give one piece of advice to entrepreneurs, if you do this, then you could put them on a path to success, what would that advice be?
Believe and don't give up.
Belief.
Keep working.
Yeah. Okay, now I got to dive into that. Now, why is belief important to you?
I think it's belief in here.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. I've got it. I can handle it. I can figure out the tools. I can figure out the resources. I can work on myself and get myself to where I want to go. If you have that negative self-talk, you don't believe in where you're going, you don't believe in the path you're taking, you might get there. It's gonna take a lot longer to get there.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that. I love belief. That's one of my biggest attributes. My faith, of course, in God, but also in myself to accomplish this. I'm very big on belief.
Yeah.
If what Sarah said was helpful, y'all know, what can I find you at, Sarah? Do you have a website or your social media? How can I find Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. So we just launched Silvercore at the beginning of the year. You can find me at silvercore.io, or you can hit up most all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. It's silvercore.io.
All righty. Well, there y'all have it. I hope y'all picked up those tools because you dropped a lot of hints for success. With that, y'all have a great day.
Thank you, John.
And thank you. We just wrapped up another episode of Simple Solutions. The question is, did you catch the clues? Success isn't complicated. The answers are often simple. but only if you're willing to look for them and apply them. Keep pursuing your goals with passion. Remember, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Until next time, stay focused, stay driven, and keep finding the simple solutions.